All right, folks, we got to keep talking about the San Diego Padres' current slide, Jackson Merrill's return, and some Mike Shildt quotes to go along with all of it. What's happening, everybody? Christian Pedersen back with another episode of Padres Digest. Thank you very much for the show that is trying to emotionally come to grips with what the heck has happened in the last 10 games for the San Diego Padres. Or maybe you already know what it is. And if you do, drop a comment. As always, happy to talk about anything this video related, or if there's something else you want to see a video on, drop a comment on that. And as always, like I say, if you can hit the subscribe button, it's much appreciated. If not, though, no worries. I want to talk about Jackson Merrill. He is back. As of 2 games ago, he has been reinserted into the lineup into what I was hoping was going to be the jolt that the Padres needed, especially after losing Xander Bogaerts. And I bring up the Xander Bogaerts thing both because I want to talk about the specifics of, like I said, us hoping for Merrill to come back and have a September surge that returns him to where he is, but also because of an interesting quote that came out a couple of days ago that I'm getting around to talking to about now. It was talked about in some Sports Illustrated stuff yesterday. Jackson Merrill is one of the multitude of former shortstops for the San Diego Padres, and he was asked, with Xander out, do you want to go back to shortstop? I wish. That'd be awesome. I mean, yeah, I'll play wherever, honestly, but obviously it's up to them. Innocent enough, innocuous enough, and maybe I'm making a straw man here on the rest of this, but this quote kind of opened up a beginning of a little bit of, to me, something that kind of illustrated a larger stress. Mike Shildt was in that same post-game clubhouse environment, talking about Merrill's return. Clearly that he's a big part of the club. This is a quote from Shildt. Apologies, as always, to those of you that are on the phone if this text is too small. He's clearly a big part of the club and brings a lot of different things. It's at the expense of, we've got a lot of really talented left-handed hitters. So now, it makes the bench a little bit stronger, and we'll use the lineup and move guys around and get some guys off their feet. So not necessarily talking about inserting Jackson Merrill in any way, shape, and form. Like, he is the center fielder, but this is not this is a clubhouse where we have a reporter joking to Merrill about switching positions, a quote from Shildt about how this ultimately trickles down to the bench being stronger, and we've got a lot of lefties, and he's not saying like, oh my gosh, yeah, Jackson's back, he's playing every day, and now we've got to find some other slot. He's leaving this little bit of ambiguous, wow, we got a lot of lefties space, and I'm not saying that that's going to immediately translate into like, oh, Merrill's going to play only 2 out of 5 days. But to me, the lack of shutting Ish down and saying, yeah, hey, that's a funny story. That's a funny question. Like, I did play shortstop in the minors. No, I'm an outfielder now, and I'm focused on just getting better at hitting or something like that. Or Shildt to say, hey, look, Merrill's our guy. We signed a long-term contract. We want him out. To me, all of it just lacks any sort of exuding of confidence. Now, I know that the Merrill thing also comes at a point in the season where he's not hitting nearly as well as he did his rookie year, and whether that's a sophomore slump or not, we won't know. In the course of this year, it will take a larger sample size of his career for us to fully know that, but it also comes in when he's only played in 93 games at this point, which is where I would want every single opportunity for Merrill to be all over the field. If I was Shildt, and this is where we were at right now, 140 games into the season, and Merrill hadn't reached 100 games yet, I would be saying, we're getting him every at-bat. We're getting him Maybe I'm completely wrong on that, though. Maybe you guys don't like Merrill in all of these different lineups. Looking at the lineups in the last couple of days, obviously none of these are working right now because we're just not winning. But if we're going to play Xanderless, these would be 2 pretty stellar lineups that I would say, like, hey, both of these to me are what I would like to run out there with confidence for the next 20 games and say, something to the degree of one of these lineups is what we're going to see in the playoffs. So why mess with it? Why talk about tooling out some pieces? Why talking about, we got a lot of left-handed hitters. We got to figure out where we're at. Like, why leave any room for idiots with YouTube accounts to come out here and be like, hey, there's a little bit of doubt in the clubhouse. There's a little bit of lack of focus in the clubhouse. And maybe all of this is me being overreactive and negative Nancy and on a 2-8 in the last 10, and the Padres are slipping and things aren't working out. And I'm tired of talking about the pitching being what's not working out. So I'm focusing on other things. But right now, in looking at where we're at, I'm like, why is Merrill not just being focused on, let's give him enough at bats to see if this can't get up to 270. If we can't get him in a rhythm and a routine and just close out the last 3 weeks of the season with consistency and at bats and experience and get Merrill in a little bit of a groove. Because I've played it now a couple of times of, if the season ends today, here's where we're at. And if the season ended today, we are still a playoff team. And why to just ask the reiterating of this initial question, why is a playoff team joking about Jackson Merrill switching positions and providing sound bites about, a shortstop or a center fielder who signed for the next decade gives us some depth on the bench? It all kind of, it maybe just feels like this is the current logjam where we got to figure out how to get Merrill hitting again, and then that'll help some other guys. And it seems like Tatis and Manny are going to start, like, that. We've seen a little bit of power come from them the last days. So I don't know. It feels like, we look at these lineups, that should be a good team. One of those two lineups that I showed you in the last couple of days that the Padres have gone with should be a winning team. And I don't know, this Jackson Merrill quotes just kind of frustrate me, because he's a 10-year center field. Like, we signed him to a franchisee career-y type contract. He was red hot last year, and I think anything short of just committing him to get a larger sample size of at-bats in September feels like we're missing the mark and we're not setting ourselves up for success. Let me know, though, what you think. Because like I said, this could all just be with the not rose-colored glasses of the last 10 games really bugging me. So maybe I need to just be talked out of this and that everything is going to be okay, and I'm completely overreacting. Let me know what you think. Like I said at the beginning, also, if you want to hit the subscribe button, it'd be much appreciated. But if not, no worries. Talk to you guys soon.